So we've had a great 2019, but we know that the prosperity that we've enjoyed is not shared by all Washingtonians. And the most obvious manifestation of this is the homelessness crisis that is a statewide crisis today. We have other problems. Not all our kids are ready for kindergarten. So I believe it is time for the state of Washington to turn its attention to another huge challenge, and that is our homelessness crisis in the state of Washington. Over the past 5 years, we have added over 500,000 people to the state of Washington. People are coming here in droves because of our tremendous economic success. As a result of this massive influx, we have not been able to house the people coming into our state. That massive influx is a strange irony because it has driven increase in rents, which have increased homelessness. We know there are multiple causes of homelessness, but one of them is the tremendous economy that is driving up rents in our state because we have not built adequate shelter and housing for new residents. Now, I do want to note that this crisis we're experiencing comes even though our state has made significant efforts in this regard. Since I've become governor, we have doubled the state's investment in our housing trust fund. We've had 9,800 units constructed. Earlier this year, I urged and we accomplished putting $206 million into affordable housing. We've done a lot, but the fact is we are not keeping pace with the tide of people who need housing services in the state of Washington. Now, we know that mental health and chemical challenge are also an ongoing part of the homelessness crisis in our state. We know that this homelessness problem touches every part of the state, and I think it's important to say that. This is not just a west or east or not just urban or rural. This touches every community in one way or another in the state of Washington. And I've seen it. I've seen it when I visited Lewis County talking to some of the homelessness advocates and people needing services. I've been to Bellingham and Tacoma and Bremerton talking to people who are on the front lines of an effort to deal with this challenge. So today in our supplemental budget, I'm proposing a plan to reduce the number of people living outside by 50% in the next 2 years in the state of Washington. To accomplish this is going to take a partnership with cities, cities, counties, nonprofits. I think we have, what mayors do we have here today? Do we have some mayors here today? We have, thank you, Mayor. Appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you being here. And so this is not going to be just an exclusively a state play. It's going to be a partnership, and we've designed this in our grant program to work in a very collegial way with our local partners. I've seen where that can help. I saw it in Lewis County recently, where we saw great work happening in rural communities dealing with some of the rural homelessness problems. Our senators, I hope, are going to help us out. Is Senator Doss here today? Did I see it? Oh, there you are, standing right there in front of me, sneaking up on me. Nicole, thank you very much. We all look forward to working with you. It's going to take our nonprofit organizations and service providers from all across the state. We've seen great nonprofit work doing very, very innovative work across the state. So in this budget, my proposals are based on addressing homelessness with compassion, dignity, and success. I'm proposing a plan to dramatically ramp up state and local efforts to provide more shelter and take other actions to combat chronic homelessness. This 3-year plan will add 2,100 local shelter beds across the state while giving rental assistance and other housing assistance to more than 3,000 additional homeless individuals. My plan gives local jurisdictions flexibility through the Housing and Essential Needs Improvement Program to provide rental assistance and ways to divert people away from homelessness. This path also provides a pathway for people to get job training, employment, and permanent housing. Now, I've seen the success of innovative strides in this regard. I've met people in Tacoma and saw that through job training, their lives totally turned around. And I think there's a message here that we can be successful with people who have real personal challenges if we provide them services to get back on their feet. And I've seen them, and it's heartening to know that people with a little courage and a little help can become really productive people of our communities. My plan will require and support communities to create their own plans to increase capacity and bring people inside. Now, to cover these costs, I propose that we tap into the state's emergency reserve fund, our rainy day fund. We need a response that will match the scope of this crisis. We're using the rainy day fund because it's raining, physically. And it's time to make a decision on a short-term basis to make sure that we respond to this crisis. We're going to bring people into shelter, into inside. And that means I am not proposing to cut services in this budget, nor do I propose that we raise taxes. The homelessness piece is by far the largest investment I'm proposing in this supplemental budget. The purpose of a supplemental budget is to make adjustments to the biannual budget. So I'm proposing things that will really make a difference for Washingtonians.
One of the reasons why there aren't enough shelter beds is that people don't want them in their neighborhoods. How is the state going to get that level of extra shelter beds in those communities?
Well, it is an important point, and I think it's something that we are trying to address. One of the things we're proposing is an effort to encourage, to some regard, require local communities to come up with their own sheltering plans. So we're asking local communities to jointly, in their community, figure out what works best for them on siting these facilities. That is an important part of this proposal. Look, this is a situation where I think Washingtonians just feel that our state is better than driving down on the work every day and seeing dozens of people living in squalor. I just don't think people find it acceptable. That means you've got to have some solution, and we intend to find them. Now, both in helping local communities finance this and in encouraging them to come up with sheltering plans of their own. By the way, it's 2,100 shelter beds, not 21,000, yes.
Governor, the City of Seattle declared a state of emergency around homelessness in 2015. As you know, the number of unsheltered people in the state started rising before that even. Why now with this big emergency investment on homelessness when some cities have been calling for it for a few years now?
Well, as I noted, we have been increasing our state commitment rather dramatically. We've doubled it since I've been governor. As I've said, we've sheltered over 9,100 people just on state dollars, if you will, I think. So we have taken action. It's just that it's become apparent that this we are counting on continued success economically. We believe that our innovative economy is going to continue to attract over 100,000 people a year to the state of Washington. And so it has become apparent that the status quo, if we don't change things, are going to make this problem worse, not better. So given that, we believe that this is a totally justifiable investment in the state of Washington. And I have to tell you, it's a frustration as a governor to be governor of a state with the most successful economy in the United States and have a homelessness problem. It's just a terrible irony. But it is largely a result of the fact that everyone's kid in America wants to come live in the state of Washington because we have such a great innovative place to live. We got clean air and clean water. We're very diverse. We accept you who you are. So we're a magnet for virtually everybody in the country, and we can't build housing stock fast enough. So we want to respond to that. Now, there's other things we need to do. We are reforming the way we provide mental health to people because we know many people, by far, not all, or majority, have mental health issues. So we're reforming the ability to provide them mental health where they live. As you know, we made that effort last year with the help of our great legislators, two of whom who've shown real leadership on this subject. On our opioid crisis, we are taking measures to be as aggressive as any other state in providing opioid reduction programs in our state. So in answer to your question, this is a crisis. I think Washingtonians share this view widely, urban, rural, R's and D's, I hope. Now's the time for action.
Governor, I guess two questions following, but one on homelessness and the issue of housing Will you support a policy of statewide rent control and other stronger eviction protections so that the folks aren't forced out of their house?
Well, I haven't proposed anything on rental, but I haven't shut the door for consideration of ways to alleviate particularly the crisis that the families found themselves into. So I'm open to ideas, but I've not proposed any to date.